Section 5.2 is on standard deviation, and what you're going to notice today is I'm speaking in a rather hushed tone. And the reason for that is because standard deviation is a very serious topic. No, actually it's because Simone is sleeping in the room next door, and if I wake her up, I'm in big trouble. So you'll have to put up with this odd, creepy voice for this video. Sorry. So the definition of standard deviation is, what it does is it measures the spread of data about the mean. Okay? So I think the best way to explain this is with an example. So I have two data sets here. The first one's 55555 and the second one's 125512. So we're going to figure out a few things here. Why don't we figure out the mode of both of them? So a little review here from last day. The mode. What's the mode? Remember, mode's like the mode common. Terrible. The mode common one here is, you're probably going to write 5. No, there's none that's more common than the other. Since there's only one of each of them, the mode is actually none. In this one, the mode is 5. But I hope you get the sense that kind of like the mode's 5 in this one. I mean, it's similar to this one, isn't it? Anyway, the median. So median, remember, is the middle value. And when there's an odd number, you just look at the middle one. Well, here's the middle. It's 5. And the middle one here, since they're already in order from smallest to biggest, the middle one's the third one. It is 5. So it's the same. Okay, the mean. To get the mean, we add them all up. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, and then we divide by 5. So that's 25 if you add them all up, divided by 5, and you get 5. For this one, the mean is 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus 5 plus 12, and divide that by how many there are, 5 of them. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 5 is 8, plus 5 is 13, plus 12 is 25. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So you can see these two data sets are very similar to each other in some ways. They both have a median of 5, they both have a mean of 5, and although they don't have the same mode, they're pretty similar. This one's 5 and this one is a whole bunch of 5s. So it's kind of like the mode is 5 in this one as well. So almost exactly the same. But if you look at those data sets, I hope you'll agree with me that they're actually quite different from each other. What's the main difference? Well, the main difference is that in this data set, it's all exactly the same. There's no spread to the data. And here, there's some relatively large numbers, 12, and some relatively small numbers, 1, and there's some right around the mean, which is 5. So there's more spread, or if you want, the word we use is there's more dispersion is the real word for that. There's more dispersion for this one. And what standard deviation is a measure of dispersion, how much spread there is around the mean. I'll get this out of the way right now. The standard deviation is never negative. It's always a positive number. Okay, so here's the formula for standard deviation. Take a big breath. That is the formula for standard deviation. So first of all, I better explain a few things here. This symbol, it's time for another symbol. This symbol is sigma, and sigma refers to standard deviation, and it's equal to the square root of all of this. So the last thing you'll do is you take the square root. So what x1 is the first data point. So for example, in this example we're going to do here, x1 is 94. x2 is the second data point, it's 56, etc., etc. This u, remember this? This is actually mu, and mu stands for the mean. So that's the mean, and that's all you need to know. Okay, so that's how you get the standard deviation. So let's do that for these two things here. You'll see it's a lot of work. So the first thing you have to do when you find standard deviation is actually find the mean, mu, and we have the mean. The mean is 5. That's what mu is 5. Okay, so we're going to plug in this formula here. Sigma, or standard deviation, equals the square root of the first data point, which is 5, take away the mean, which is 5, and then we have to square all that, plus the second data point, which is 5, take away the mean, which is 5, and we have to square all that, plus, and you see what's happening in each one of these cases. All 5 of these cases, you're going 5, take away 5, 5, take away 5, 5, take away 5. So you're always doing the same, and you're going to divide all that by n, which is how many there are, which is 5 of them. I hope you're following me there. Because what do each one of these equal? Well, 5 take away 5 is 0, and 0 squared is 0. Happens again here, 0. It happens again here, 0. You get 5 of those. So I guess I can put them all down, and you're going to divide by 5. 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 is 0. Divide by 5. 0 divided by 5 is still 0, and if you take the square root of 0, it's 0. So that wasn't very exciting. The standard deviation is 0. And that should make sense, because how much dispersion is there here? How much spread is there? None. Every single value point is exactly the same as the mean, so there's no standard deviation. There's no dispersion. So it makes sense that we get 0 here. Do you think we'll get 0 in this one? No way. There's definitely some spread here. So let's do this one. Sigma equals the square root of the first data point, which is 1, take away the mean, which is 5, right? The mean's 5 right here. And then we have to square that, plus the second data point, which is 2, take away the mean, which is 5, and square that. The third data point is 5, take away the mean, which is 5, and square that. The fourth one is also 5, take away the mean, which is 5, and square that. And the last data point is 12, take away the mean, which is 5, and square that. And we have to divide all that by how many values there are, and there's 5 of them. So that equals 1 take away 5 is negative 4, and then we're going to square that, plus 2 take away 5 is negative 3, we're going to square that. 5 take away 5 is 0, and we're going to square that. 5 take away 5 is 0, we're going to square that. And 12 take away 5 is 7, and we're going to square that. And we're going to divide that all by 5. Next, negative 4 squared is 16. Here's where you can see we never get a negative value for standard deviation, because when you do get negatives, they just get turned into positives when we square. So we get 16. Negative 3 squared is 9. 0 squared is 0, and another 0 squared is another 0. And 7 squared is 49. And this should go a little lower because we have to do all that and divide by 5. Okay, 16 plus 9 plus 49 is 74. And we divide that by 5. So you end up with the square root of 14.8. And the square root of 14.8 is 3.85. And that's the standard deviation. Okay, so more standard deviation on this one because there's some spread around the mean. Now, I hope your eyes are rolling around your head a little bit and you're going, look at all that work, that's crazy. That is a lot of work. We don't really want to have to do that. I do want you to understand it. I probably will ask you to do one simple question with about 4 data points, but there is an easier way to do it, and I am going to teach that to you. Okay, so here's our next question. We're going to find, again, the mean, the median, the mode, and the standard deviation, which is awful, right? Standard deviation. Okay, let's start with the mode, the most common. Well, none of them are the same, so it's none, or if you want, you can write it like that. Don't just put 0, though. Median's the middle one, but you have to put them in order. So the smallest one's 56. Then comes 67, then comes 84, then 89, then 94. So the middle one's right there. The median's 84. Remember, a median in the road is right in the middle of the road. It's the island in the middle of the road. And the mean is what we mean when we say average. So what we're going to do to get the mean is we're going to add these things all up. 94 plus 56 plus 89 plus 67 plus 84. And then we're going to divide by how many there are, and there's 5 of them. And if you do that, you're going to get 78. Okay, the standard deviation. So I'll show you again how to do this. As I said, I do expect you to be able to do this, and then I'm going to show you a much easier way to do it. Okay, so the standard deviation is equal to the first data point. Remember, first we're going to do square root of all this. First data point is 94. Take away the mean, which we just found, and we square it. Second one is 56. Take away 78, and we square it. Third one is 89. Take away 78, and we square it. Next one's 67, take away 78, and we square it. And the last data point's 84, take away 78, and we square it. And we have to divide that by how many there are, and there are 1, 2, 3, 5 again, always 5 here. And then we would take the square root. Okay, so 94 take away 78 is 16 squared. 56 take away 78 is negative 22 squared. 89 take away 78 is 11 squared. 67 take away 78 is negative 11 squared. And 84 take away 78 is 6 squared. and we have to divide all that by 5 and take the square root. I'll use a different color. So 16 squared is 256, negative 22 squared is 484, 11 squared is 121, negative 11 squared is also 121, and 6 squared is 36. We got to divide that by 5 and take the square root. Okay, you add all those top things together and you'll get 1018. Divide it by 5 and take the square root. Divide that and you get 203.6 and you take the square root. And the square root of that is 14.27. Okay, there's nothing particularly difficult about that, but boy, it sure does take a lot of time, right? Okay, I'm now going to show you a much easier way to do this. However, this relies on you having one of these. So this is a TI-83 calculator. It doesn't have to be TI-83, but we'll have those for you in class. I might be able to let you borrow them for this chapter. If not, you can download an emulator on your computer. I think it's not breaking any rules or anything. I've put a link on my the web page there for Mac users, and if you're not a Mac user, you just follow the same video but you download different files. You'll figure it out. It's really not that bad. So I'll explain this also in class, but here's what you do. The first thing you need to do is hit stat, because we're doing statistics, right? And you're going to edit it. So you can either hit 1, or since it's already on edit, you can just hit enter. And you have a list here. L1 stands for list, and you're going to put the numbers you're interested in this list. So first of all, I already have numbers in here. If you already have numbers in there, you can go up to L1 and you hit clear and then enter, and they're all gone. Great. Now I'm going to enter in my numbers. So just these 5 numbers right here. So I put 94, and then I can either hit enter or the down arrow. I'll hit the down arrow. Then I hit 56, down arrow, then 89, down arrow, 67, down arrow, and 84, down arrow. I probably should have done that actually on the calculator. I use my keyboard on the computer, so it's a little faster. But this is the down arrow right here that I could have pushed. Okay, great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get out of here because we've put our 5 data points in here. So I hit second mode because you see that quit there, so that quits that. Now I want to do more stats. So I go to stats again. I know it's a little complicated, but once you get the steps, it's so easy. You want to move over to calculate this time. So I'll hit the arrow over to calculate, and you want this first thing. It'll always be this first one. So you can just hit enter. And now you want to tell the calculator which numbers do you want to do statistics on. And we want to do it in that first list we put in. So I'm going to have to hit this. See that right here it says L1. So I have to get that. How do I get L1? I hit second and the number 1 because that gives me L1. And there it is, L1. All you have to do now is hit enter. Done. You get all these numbers. Okay, the first number, this X with the line on top, that's your mean, 78. See, right here, 78. So maybe I'll write that in, that X bar is the same as the mean. So on your calculator, where you see X bar, that's your mean. Next thing you don't have to worry about, next thing you don't have to worry about, next thing you don't have to worry about, here you go. Right there, there is your sigma, and it has an answer of 14.26 blah blah blah, rounds to 14.27. That's exactly what we got right here, 14.27. So that's your standard deviation. N equals 5. N is the number of data points, right? Remember, N in the formula was that bottom number. Yes, we have 5 data points. Can keep going down to get more. The minimum value is 56. That's true. The minimum value is 56. This is the first quartile. You don't have to worry about that. The median value is 84. Yes, we got that right here. The median is 84. Keep going down. Third quartile is 91.5. Don't have to worry about that. Keep going down. The maximum value is 94. Yep, that was the maximum value. And that's it. Okay? You'll notice the one thing they don't give you is the mode, but it's not too difficult to figure out the mode. Alright, so that is how you do that. Let's go back and do just this data set, just so I can show you one more example of that. Okay, so we got to do our list. So I go to, well, I'll just get rid of this, clear. Then I'll go stat, and I want to edit that, so 1. If you want, you can get rid of this, or you can go over to L2 and use L2. Let's do that. Let's go over to L2, and I'll put in these numbers. So I put in 1, arrow, or return, or enter, or whatever. I guess it'd be enter on your calculator. 2, 5, 5, and 12. There's my 5 data points that I have right there. So now I want to get out of here. You probably don't even need to get out of there. You can just hit stat again, probably. And then go over to calc. So we hit the arrow over. We want the first one. We always want the first one. And at this time, remember, it wasn't L1. I put it in the L2. So I need this right here. So I go second 2, there's the L2. Hit enter and we're done. Here's our values. The mean is 5. Is that what we got? Yeah, we got the mean is 5. Skip down to here. We got standard deviation is 3.847. 3.85. Yep, if you round, that's what it equals. N is 5. Yes, there's 5 data points. Keep going down. Minimum one is 1. Yep, that is the smallest one. The median is 5. Yes, that's what we found. And the maximum is 12, and that's what we found. That's how it works. Okay, last question here. Has asked some kids, I didn't do this, it's out of a textbook, how many gaming hours they played per week. I feel so stupid saying that. But anyway, and this is what they came up with. 2 kids said they played between 3 and 5 hours, 5 played between 5 and 7, etc., etc. So a couple things to notice about this. First of all, when I say frequency, I mean like the number of students. Okay, and what you'll notice in the hours here is there's a range between 3 and 5. Well, that's kind of a problem, because if 2 kids played between 3 and 5, you don't know how much each one of them played. Maybe they both played 3, maybe they both played 5, maybe one played 4 and one 5, maybe you don't know. So what do you do? Well, what you have to do if there's a range like this is take the middle value. So what's right in the middle of 3 to 5? 4. Right in the middle of 5 to 7? 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay? Now, let's not do this by hand. Let's use our calculator. So I'm going to go up and get rid of this. So I'm going to hit clear and enter, and now I'm good to go. Okay, so be careful. 4 and 2. Does this mean I enter 4 2 times, or do I enter 2 4 times? Well, the number of students who got 4 is 2. So 2 people got 4. I have to enter 4 2 times. So here we go. I enter 4 and 4. I'm doing this on my keyboard at home. So now I'm down to here. 5 people got 6. I have to enter 6 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 6 people got 8. I have to enter 8 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 people got 10. Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that didn't work. 7. Okay, 4 people got 12. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 3 people got 14. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it says here that there's a 28 here. It means the next term would be the 28th. So hopefully this is 27 values here. 7, 13, 20, 24, 20, yeah, 27. So I feel good about this. I think it's right. Okay, so let's get out of here. Hit stat. I want to calculate, so I go over here. I always want that first one, and I want L1 because we put it in L1. And hit enter, and you're done. All we have to do now is write it down. So the mean, remember that's the mean is 9.111. So mean equals 9.11. 9.11 is a joke. Do we know that song, or you guys are too young for that? Okay, then we go down to standard deviation, which is 2.846, I guess, if we round, or 2.85. Let's do that. So the standard deviation is 2.85. What else do we have here? We have n is 27. Yes, we already counted that. There's 27 terms there. The minimum 4, yes, it's definitely the smallest one. The median is 10. We didn't know that. You could have figured that out. But yes, the median's 10, so we'll write that down. And the maximum is 14. Yeah, we already know that. So the median, it tells us, is 10. That's nice that we don't have to figure that out. And the last thing we have to do is the mode. But that's pretty easy. Which one of these red numbers shows up the most? If there's 2 of these and 5 of these and 6, well, there's 7 of these ones, so the mode must be 10. And that's it. Okay, thank goodness for this graphing calculator, and pity the last 2 years when I didn't let them use it. What was I thinking?
Yeah.